Hello! So, this is my book cover for my forthcoming book, A Personal Guide to Port Stephens, Places to See and Things to Do. Um, Firstly, I wanted to give a big shout out and thank you to Derek Murphy, whose YouTube channel and YouTube videos on how to create a book cover using your Microsoft Word has helped me enormously in allowing me to produce this book cover. It's been a personal experience from start to end, and I was glad that I've managed to create a book cover by myself, showcasing some of the photos I have taken of Port Stephens. So it's been a personal ride, and I couldn't have done this book cover without your video, Derek. I mean, the video is 8 years old, but it's helping people like me create ebook covers like this one. So I just wanted to discuss the images in this book cover, on this book cover. The main photo remains, which is the view from Quarry Hill overlooking Wreck Beach, Stevens Peak, Tomaree Head, Yakaba Head, and Cabbage Tree Island in the distance. The advice that Derek gave in terms of using some of the glow, using some of the shadow in Microsoft Word, you can see I've applied some of them here. I used very little glow, but you can see the shadow the tea makes over the water here. So thank you, Derek, again for that nice tip. This photo, so I'll go clockwise from top left, is that of Kingsley Beach, which is in Boat Harbour. And this was taken on such a beautiful day. You could see the turquoise waters there. And this is on top of a set of stairs that they've improved as part of the Tomaree Coastal Walk. So Kingsley Beach is now part of the walk there. So if you do undertake this 27-kilometre walk, you will see this magnificent view, especially if it's a beautiful day like this one. Boat Harbour is normally where I go to for the whale watching season, or during summer where the other beaches are far too busy and far too crowded for my liking. But yes, so this is one of the locals' beaches, and some locals have been worried about the walk because they're opening it up to so many more people. But as custodians of this magnificent landscape, I think the locals should be proud that this piece of natural beauty is there, and that they and we can share it to the rest of the world. In the middle is my June quad bike ride through the Worimi Conservation Lands. If you come to this region, you must visit and you must experience the sand dunes of Birrubi or the Worimi lands. It is such an iconic and emblematic place of the region. It is definitely a must-do, whether you go sand duning, sliding down the sand dunes, or go camel riding, or like this, doing a quad bike ride through the sand dunes. We took this sand quad bike ride with Sand Dune Adventures, which is an Indigenous owned business run by some of the Worimi peoples in the area. And during the ride or the tour, they tell us a bit of their connection to the land. And in the chapter on these lands, I discuss some of the wonderful features, and even a great dreaming story they have of how these sand dunes were formed. Here on the top right is one of the photos that made the short list. And in my previous video I did discuss this, but this is the view of Fly Roads, the northern end of Fingal Bay Beach, from the southern end of Box Beach. So I was quite pleased I could include this photo. It's been a special place for me while I've been writing this book over the past year, and it's just a piece of serenity in the bay for me. Here at the bottom right is one of the other shortlist photos. So I finally managed to have the bench. So I would argue that this is probably the best public bench in Port Stephens because it overlooks the magnificent heads of Tomari and Yakaba and the wonderful crescent and that gorgeous turquoise beach of turquoise waters and wonderful sand of Shoal Bay Beach. So it's a public bench. Anyone can get to this bench, and I hope some of you can experience the delight and wonder when I see these heads and those waters. Here at the bottom middle is a koala, and koalas are generally nocturnal animals, but I took this during their breeding season, which is high summer here, and I watched this koala across the very busy road in Salamander Bay and to get to Mamba Wetlands Reserve, where he or she found this tree and climbed it up. So they are endangered animals now in this country, so seeing one in the wild is pretty special. So I hope that you can still see some of our Port Stephens koalas when you come up here. The final photo is this view from Pindamar. Pindamar is at the northern part of Port Stephens, and there's a long history of that northern area, but as I discuss it in the book, it never really boomed like the southern side did. But the northern area was actually first settled and developed in the early colonial days. And this view gives a reason why, because you've got this fantastic view of the heads. You can see on the horizon there's Yakaba, there's Tomari, and the hills of Shoal Bay and Nelson Bay. And you can literally see each boat coming in and out of the heads from this area. So there is a chapter on really the 5 main hamlets of that northern part of Port Stephens in my book. Anyway, so I was quite pleased with this book cover because I did it myself, and the photos are all my own. So this has been such a personal journey. And again, I wanted to thank Derek Murphy for giving me such fantastic advice through his YouTube videos on how to create this image of Port Stephens, which I hope gives you a glimpse on how beautiful this area is of Australia.